What? Bless you. Ready, steady.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cigar Guys. Today we're going to be talking about cigar storage, humidification of your cigars, different containers that you could keep them in, and, you know, just overall storage.
Wow, very insightful, Zach.
All right, and we got the usual suspects over here. It's going to be myself, Zachary Nikolai, joined by Alexander Gonzalez, Mark, and then Jared.
What's going on? Here's Bill Vinny.
Howdy, boys.
Thank you.
All right, guys, what do we got in our cups over here today? What are we drinking?
Well, while these gents in the back are drinking Boveda 14, which is a great scotch, don't get me wrong, Zach and I have something a little special planned, or something special that we're drinking. What is that, Zach? What's going on here?
You know, I know it's an old fashioned. I don't know what it's made from, and you just showed up with this smoker over here. I'm gonna finish off smoking it.
There's whiskey in there.
Well,
There's
I would
my
hope
old fashioned.
so.
Yeah.
So we're having smoked old fashions made with Horse Soldier. I think it's the straight. What is it? Single barrel reserve. I don't even know what it is. The strong one.
Tell you what kind of wood is this? We got
Cherry wood.
Cherry wood. Yeah, it smells good. Might just keep that smoke going more than my cigar.
Yeah.
Cherrywood's good.
Smell a lot better.
You ever had cherrywood smoked bacon?
Ooh,
That's a jam.
that sounds good.
Yeah, it is.
We're all going to your house next.
So real quick, I'm smoking the Hooten Young. Bless you, Zach. The Hooten Young 25th Gothic Serpent. I think it's medium body. I have no idea what the cigar is. I just saw it and picked it up. Hooten Young makes good stuff. Great whiskey too.
Okay, am I reading this correctly? We're on our 13th episode? This is insane.
13, and it's Friday the 13th.
Wow.
It's not.
Wow.
I was about to say
It's
that. I was
not.
like, isn't today Wednesday?
What do you, Jared? What are you smoking?
Julius Caesar.
That's
Been a
your
bit.
first one, right?
That's not my third Diamond Crown. It's pretty good, actually. I'm such a fan.
Diamond
Diamond
Crown.
I mean, it's only because you said it last time. I should try it.
Did I? Julius
said-
Caesar's
yeah.
okay.
You said Diamond Crown from Julius Caesar is the only one I should try from Julius Caesar.
Oh,
I
true.
probably did say that. Yeah. That
The only
sounds
one.
like-
The only one. So I
That
got
sounds like something I would say.
it. I bought it.
But, and then what are you guys smoking, Zach?
I'm smoking the Besa. You know, my usual go-to. And the reason it's my usual go-to is because it's the best cigar I've ever had in my life.
It's pretty hard to beat. I will admit that.
Yeah, especially for the price point. I mean, $13.
$13.
And where do we buy this from?
You could get it at besacigar.com.
I didn't hear you. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, Besa, B-E-S-A, cigar.com.
Cigar is spelled C-I-G-A-R. In case you didn't know.
Oh, yeah, I did not know. Thank you for that.
And then dot is like literally the dot, and then com
Like a
is spelled
period.
C-O-M.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into it. Like Zach said, cigar storage and humidification. Very important if you want to keep cigars long term, like longer than a few days. If you aren't storing your cigars, I would say max you probably get away with a week, depending on your climate.
Max, even then, depending on your climate, I don't like storing my cigars in a non-humidified place.
A few days is safe, but once you're hitting a week, especially it depends on the conditions before too. If
Yeah,
it
of
was
course.
if the cigar was more on the wet side, then you can get away with longer. But we're going to start off with talking about a few types of humidors. The first being, which I actually forgot to bring out, but a traditional desktop or a cedar chest style humidor, which is the most common. It's basically a humidor that is made with cedar, at least all on the inside. The whole thing's lined with cedar inside.
Classic humidor.
Exactly.
I would say if you're gonna get one, do not get I would stray away from the glass top ones.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. Glass top humidors do have their place, especially if you throw parties at your house a lot, you have guests over. They definitely are a good showpiece to have, but like Alex has a glass top humidor, and any cigar that goes in that humidor for the night gets taken right back out and goes in a full cedar chest that has a great seal.
I will admit too, I have kept cigars in there for long periods of time. That humidor in general is a lot drier than my actual
So,
non-glass
so is it all
top.
for show for all your guests and your clients?
Yeah, exactly. So, but if I have cigars that have been in there for long term, and the whole humidor is dry.
Yeah, the issue with it is that the glass on the humidor, it doesn't expand and contract with the wood. So when the wood expands, the glue gets set apart from the glass, and then you start having minor leaks, and the aerodynamics of
Basically,
Oh
the
my
I see
seal.
the way you're looking at me.
I'm glad
The,
we have
seal,
our
the
aerospace
seal is
engineer.
the seal is compromised, basically after a long period of time. So yeah, basically 25 count, 100 count, 300 count, whatever. Those are the most basic humidors. You can get them at almost any cigar shop online. They're the most popular. You also have something like this, an acrylic glass jar, which has a nice rubber seal on it, and this one's got a what do you call this? I'm blanking. It's a dial to keep track of humidity. I cannot think of
Humididow.
It's a hydrometer. It's a hydrometer.
Hydrometer,
And this
Humididow.
one, so sometimes people put cedar, like sheets of cedar in there, to help absorb the moisture, and then have that cedar air in there.
Yeah, so this one we actually got from our buddies over at Jefe Cigars.
You might know them.
And I mean, yeah, we had them on the podcast, but it actually came with a do-it-yourself Boveda pack. Basically, you fill this up with water, and it has to be distilled water, and we'll get into that later. And this is actually a good example on why we need distilled water, Alex. We'll show them later. when
Oh,
we get
because
there.
it's okay. Yeah.
But
Someone did not use distilled water.
I did not. No, because I did not. But we'll show the camera a little bit later. But when you use those and you use distilled water, like I do like having the cedar in there, just so you don't get excess moisture pooling up on the plastic.
Yeah, because the cedar sucks in some of the moisture, and we'll talk more about seasoning humidors and all that. Another example that's become more popular is the Tupperware, which is basically an airtight Tupperware container. You put your cigars in there, your humidification device, your Boveda pack, whatever you want to use. And as long as it's airtight, I wouldn't necessarily use that one. There's better
I'll
options.
say, what the fuck is that?
But
Listen.
for example purposes,
Listen.
that actually would get the job done.
Tried and true in America, everyone's got a Tupperware container.
And you know what? Tupperware containers, you don't need to season them or anything. They're just ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's just plastic. I mean, one thing with this, though, I would not use one of those. Definitely use a Boveda pack, because that releases and extracts moisture when needed.
Belvia cheese pack?
Boveda. Did I say Belveda? Boveda?
Boveda. Yeah, I've actually heard of people ditching their traditional humidor for a Tupperware.
How many sandwiches can I put in there next to some of my own cigars so they're both moist?
0.
Can I have the aerospace engineer?
One.
Please? Oh, just one?
Yeah. Zero, definitely 0. 1. Listen, I get hungry sometimes. All right, we're doing these podcasts.
Very simple. Throw your cigars in there. Throw your humidification device in there, preferably a Boveda pack or some sort of humidification pack
We need
that
to
regulates.
we need to get
humidity.
sponsored by Boveda.
And Belvita.
Boveda, if you're watching this, you're not approved by the Cigar Guys until you sponsor us. That's all I'm saying. You don't have the Cigar Guys seal of approval yet. I
That's
know
valid.
obviously you're the best, but not officially. Anyway, another one that's getting more popular is the coolador, or basically a humidor that is made from a cooler. And the reason why people are doing this, similar to the Tupperware, make sure you get one that's airtight sealed, but it keeps your cigars cooler. So people that live in hot climates might prefer this because it'll keep the cigars on the cooler side.
Damn straight, I prefer it. I'm going to get my Yeti, filled up with my cigars, and I'll never have an issue.
Exactly. Throw some Boveda packs in there, the big ones, and then you're good to go. You could store,
Hell yeah, we got that Yeti.
400 cigars in there.
The Yeti 65 over there. Listen, you know how many cigars we can fit in there? For way cheaper than we buy a humidor for. And it already has a seal.
Exactly. You could fit probably 400 cigars in there at least, something around there. 400 or 500.
Where is it? Can you bring it on the camera so we all can see?
Maybe at the end.
I'm gonna edit it in right here.
Yeah,
Here's a
yeah, we'll
picture
put it in.
of a picture of a.
Here's me
coolador.
holding the Yeti. It might not be to scale.
We also have another popular one, the travel humidor, which essentially is a humidor on a smaller scale, something that's more handheld, compact, more mobile. This is something that you can bring to the lounge on vacation. Basically, it's the same thing as a traditional humidor. It's just smaller. Usually there's no cedar in there. Sometimes you put cedar slips in there or something like that.
Yeah, and it has these foam inserts on there, just so if you're only taking 4 or 5, you just layer one stack. And if you need to layer more, then you just take the foam out.
Yeah, so you could easily fit about 10 in there, 10, 15, something like that. Put your Boveda pack in there, your humidification device.
Yeah, this one right here is a Cigar. It's a 15 cigar travel humidor.
That's
And
pretty
what's
good
this
size.
fancy one right here?
All right, so I got something very cool. I'll hand it off to Zach so he should show off to the camera. It is a Davidoff briefcase.
Ooh.
Travel humidor.
And then we have the not so humidors. This thing's amazing. My dad even complimented it walking out the house today. But it's a travel humidor. You could carry 4 sticks, plus you have an ashtray that comes with it. And then in the ashtray, you can put your lighter and a cutter, just so when you have your briefcase, you got everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
I
will say this, the seal on that is not great. It's not like a traditional humidor seal, but it will keep it humid for at least a couple weeks if you throw a Boveda pack in there.
Yeah, and it's got a little carrying handle, got some locks.
I wouldn't even say it's meant for like holding cigars in for a long time. It's more meant for like
it's more of get from here to the cigar lounge.
I want to
Whip
see
it
both
out.
start
or
using
just
this more
whatever
often.
whatever event you go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, you gotta start bringing this everywhere.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Well, I don't want to bring it to the cigar lounge because then they clean their own ashtrays. So what am I gonna do? Use my own ashtray?
Yeah, have them clean yours.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice little ashtray, man.
Yeah, bring your own ashtray.
No, it is a nice little ashtray. If you're out somewhere and you pull that out, you pull that whole showcase out.
I was gonna say use it outside when they don't have the ashtrays outside because someone's been slacking off.
The next wedding I go to, I'm gonna bring it.
We should bring that to events, honestly.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Oh, we should. Yeah, that'd be cool.
And
Yeah,
then
but, this you can't buy this. I got this in an event, not an event. It was like a special
it was a deal.
deal.
Buy a box, get a
Get a
briefcase. What else do we got?
We got the next humidor we got. It's a cabinet humidor. Now those things,
Basically,
the best of the best.
yeah, cabinet. It could be cabinet this big, a full size cabinet that has a seal on it. Traditionally, they have they're all lined with cedar on the inside, stuff like that. And for example, there's a great cigar cabinet out there. It's by Need One cigar cabinet. It's an electric humidor, and it regulates your temperature, so you can actually keep it at the perfect temperature. We recommend like 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a good, nice, cool temperature. Not too dry.
So does it regulate humidity also?
It does not regulate humidity, so you still have to put Boveda packs in there and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it does regulate temperature.
Temperature is a big part because especially if you have a lot of windows in your house, just the sun beating through the window.
Right. It's very important to keep your cigars cool.
Yeah.
Especially, we live in Florida. It gets hot during the summer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of states where it gets really hot during the summer.
Yeah, if you keep it hot, those cigar beetles will come out.
Yeah, we'll get more into that later. But yeah, you want to keep your cigars typically below 70 degrees, above 50 degrees, I'd say. So, we go 65. That's pretty ideal right there.
Yeah.
Not too cold.
So that cabinet, how many cigars can you store in there?
Yeah, so the Need One cigar humidor, it's got space for, they have 2 different sizes. The one that we have actually, which we're going to show right here, holds 300 cigars in that one cabinet.
What?
Yes, exactly.
What if I need more?
I'm sure you can find bigger ones. 300 is a lot of cigars. though.
That's a lot of cigars.
I have a humidor that's 100 count, and that thing's still like half empty.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
lot of cigars.
we need storage for our basis cigars. Actually, we have a cedar chest that can fit like 1,500 in there. But
Yeah.
it's got a great seal on it. But yeah, I tell you what, and that humidor too, it's got 3 different cedar shelves. It's got a cedar, not a tray, like a drawer actually.
Okay,
that you
yeah,
keep
yeah.
cigars in there. So you can put boxes in there. You can put loose cigars in there. It's really, really great. great storage. Obviously, it keeps them cool. And we actually have a link in the description for that humidor if you want to go check it out. And we also have a discount code we're going to put right here. So go check it out. Use the discount code, and you can get yourself one. It's actually a pretty good price too. I mean, for what you're getting, I'd say it's great. We use it for our base cigars.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. I mean, like you said, here in Florida, heat is a big factor. And even, I know places up north during summertime, they get, drastically hot. So it's really good to keep a constant temperature. And one thing too is like, if you keep that constant temperature, your Boveda packs are going to last longer. The humidity is not going to fluctuate as much.
Exactly. Temperature is just as important as humidification. Some people think it's just humidification, but you got to keep a constant temperature, and that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you could have a cigar for, a whole lifetime. More than that. I mean, they're selling.
People age cigars for 10, 20 years sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check it out. Use our discount code. Let us know how you guys like it. Post
Everything's in the
it.
description.
Yeah, check it out.
All right. So those are the different types of humidors that you can have. There's probably a few others if you want to get more specific, but those are the basics right there. We're also going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to keep your cigars properly stored. One of the biggest things that we were talking about earlier is whenever we talk about using water, it has to be distilled water. If you don't use distilled water, mold comes from it.
You get mold, bacteria, sediment, and it could ruin your whole cigars.
There was one cigar lounge that we went to, and they had a nice cabinet humidor filled with all their expensive sticks. They're all locked up, whatever. And someone got lazy and didn't put distilled water in there. And sure enough, they found mold inside the humidor, and all those cigars were ruined.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
All those nice, expensive cigars.
So where's the cigar beetles come from, though?
So cigars naturally have cigar beetle eggs in them.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance that they could be in them. So
it's the eggs that they would hatch from. So what happens basically is if you have a cigar that has cigar beetle eggs in it, if it gets to a temperature that's much warmer, it'll allow them to hatch. So that's why people say keep your cigars under 70 degrees Fahrenheit, in between that 50 to 70 degrees.
So we're smoking tobacco and cigar beetles?
Maybe.
It's possible.
Maybe not. It's not super common, but it's common enough to where they're just in there. It doesn't really affect the cigar at all. Unless they do hatch, obviously it's going to affect your cigars.
Better taste, worse taste? Or
Well,
if they hatch, probably should have smoked it.
For those of you that don't know, if they do hatch, it's kind of easy to spot because your cigar will have these deep holes in them, almost basically tunnels.
yeah, they'd be like pinholes.
Yeah.
Just like little circles. You can be like, huh, that's a weird crack. And it's like, no, it's not crack. Something ate that.
Yeah. So you can see, a few different holes in your cigar, and then they can spread to your other cigars if you keep them in a humidor. We had experience with that, actually. One of us did. Not me.
It was me. It was my fault.
Zach, what happened?
Well, you see, we're filming one of our original videos for the Cigar Guys. So I had moved my humidor downstairs in our formal living room, and that living room is surrounded by windows. So during the morning, as the sun's coming up, it's getting bombarded with heat from the sun. So the sun's rising up, and then it was probably there for about a week, maybe 2 weeks. Mark goes to grab a cigar out of there. Next thing I know, I get pictures while I'm at work. Mark's like, yo, we have cigar beetles. And I'm like,
They were massive.
I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, they've been munching on that tobacco for a little bit.
Yeah, they were feasting.
They were getting
in there, man.
swole, dude. They were on trend and everything.
dude, everything. I mean, what was going through your head when you saw that?
I was like, holy fuck. I was like,
Because too, a lot of people are like, it won't happen to me, and then when it does, you're like, oh god, like what do I do? What do I do?
yeah, but it ended up working out. Not working out, but all our expensive sticks, it has a tray to keep up top. The humidor and all our expensive sticks were up top, and most of those weren't touched.
I mean, only a few were impacted, right?
If they're covered in plastic,
No.
would that help?
No, we lost a lot of.
I think it did help.
So cellophane.
Cellophane, yeah. The ones in
cellophane.
cellophane, would it help?
I believe it helped. We had to be honest, we had about half of our stock trashed.
Really?
But yeah, but like a lot of those sticks were just like cheap sticks that people gave me, and I was just letting them age. Yeah, I was just letting them age to see if they ever got any better.
Is it appropriate to say the bases would be very much more protected longer term?
Yeah, I mean, no bases got injured in that.
Bases are kept in a very secure, controlled environment, actually.
Good to hear.
If we keep bases in our personal humidors, that's for us to smoke. We would never give those bases out, or we would never sell those bases.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's in our humidor, it's for us.
Yeah, we have a very secure system to prevent issues like this.
Obviously, it's for you. I mean, so no beetles can touch them if they're in cellophane, right?
Well,
beetles
it's very, very unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah, beetles could eat through cellophane though.
What?
Well, I don't know if they can they eat through them?
How big are these beetles?
No, they could eat. I mean, they're small. The ones we had were a little big for them, but they could eat through
Like a
cellophane.
millimeter in
Probably
size.
like this black tip right here. That's probably the biggest one.
So how'd you get rid of
I
them?
don't
You set it
know,
on
that's a
fire?
little
You
big.
just threw them out, or?
I threw the sticks that were affected away. We put the sticks that weren't affected in the freezer because if you guys don't know, actually a lot of people do this when they buy cigars online. The first thing I do is stick their cigars in the freezer, just in case. So
yeah, so when you freeze
okay.
them,
yeah.
you throw them in the freezer for a day or two, and it basically neutralizes any potential eggs that are in there and any beetles that might be in there. Take them out, let them get back to regular temperature.
So
And
yeah,
then you should be good to go.
yeah. So you actually gotta leave them in for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Put them in the fridge to get down to temperature slowly for about another week.
Do you defrost them, I guess?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then you just throw them into your humidor and let them,
Let them sit.
Let 'em sit, yeah,
And
you
I left my humidor outside for like a week, just because. I was grossed out that those cigar beetles in there. So
yeah, it was a lot, man.
Yeah, so that's how you deal with cigar beetles if you do come across them. Thankfully, we were equipped enough to deal with that. Thankfully, none of my cigars were harmed. So
that's very true.
And no base was harmed?
no bases were harmed in this process.
And so what happened to you guys, like one time, or no?
Yeah, just one time. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in our whole years of smoking. So I mean,
In
it's
our
not bad.
combined experience of 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually saving them and cultivating them. So if any cigar shops get us angry, we're releasing a mass bioweapon on them. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that is disclaimer. That is a joke and not
Holy-
factual information.
Joke.
Holy shit.
joke.
Sarcasm. So,
Back to the distilled water.
distilled water. Yeah, that's right. We didn't really finish that. If you don't put distilled water in, whatever humidification device you have, you could end up getting mold or whatever the heck that is.
Yeah. So we actually, I set this up like 2 weeks ago, and I just put regular water in it and I let it sit. And I'll show it to this camera right here.
Go for
I don't know
it.
if it's too close. Can you focus on that?
That's up to you, my friend.
Not close enough.
You can kind of see it. So if you see the discoloration there,
Yeah.
the lighter spots have like some mold or whatever in it, and so that kind of grew because you didn't put distilled water in it. And then two, anything that has to do with water, it has to be distilled water. That's the important part you need to know. When it comes to, go ahead.
I was gonna say when it comes to seasoning, to
Yeah.
seasoning your humidor, especially if you get a cedar, like chest style humidor, when you get it, that cedar is gonna be dry. It's been sitting on the shelf for a long time. No one's been touching it. No one's been taking care of it. So you take distilled water with a brand new sponge, or a new napkin, or and you wet it, and then you wipe the inside of the humidor.
Very lightly.
Yeah, you don't want any pools of water. You don't want to see any like big spots like you spilled water.
If anything in your life is going to be conservative, it's got to be wiping the water inside your cedar humidor.
But yeah, and you got to make sure you use distilled water for that, or you could have mold issues, like we said.
That's one method. There's
Yeah.
a few different methods of seasoning a humidor.
So-
That's one of them.
The way I actually seasoned mine originally was I used a cup of water. I used that method because I know you use a sponge, and this is just like my own curiosity.
Well, so I didn't use a sponge to wipe though.
Well, not a sponge,
Yeah.
but like a cloth or whatever.
No. So I didn't wipe the inside of the humidor.
Oh, really?
So this is a very similar method. You can either take a shot glass of water or a wet sponge and just let it sit in the humidor. So when you have the sponge, you have to have like a protective covering. So I put it on like a plastic
Gotcha.
baggie.
Yeah.
So we'll use the shot glass for example. Fill a shot glass up with distilled water, sit it in the humidor for like 3 days, and then it'll get up to 80%, whatever. That way the cedar absorbs all the water and it gets full almost.
Yeah.
Because what you want to prevent is when you do have your humidor, popularly when you have your humidor, properly humidified, whatever. After you season it, it prevents the cedar from sucking in all that humidity and not going to your cigars.
Yeah. So I did the shot cup method.
Yeah.
I didn't actually use a shot cup. I used a Turkish coffee cup.
Of course.
Very similar.
Of course.
It's a very Albanian thing to do. But yeah, I filled it up with distilled water, and I actually let mine sit for a week. And then after that week, I put a Boveda pack in there. I think it was like 69%. Then let it sit for another week to watch it like settle. And then a lot of humidors actually don't come with their hydrometers
set, like properly
calibrated. Yeah. So it doesn't come with it calibrated. So what you do is like you pick the humidity 69, 72, 75, whatever, which we recommend 69, but whatever you want.
No pun intended. 69 is the best humidity.
But you let it sit in there for a little while, and then you adjust your hydrometer to that temperature or to that humidity.
There's another way to do it to be extra sure. And basically, you take like a plastic bottle cap and fill it like about halfway with salt, and then put a few drops of water in there to dampen the salt. If you put that in your humidor with the hydrometer, your humidity will be 75% guaranteed. So you take the hydrometer out, and let's say it's at 70, you turn it up to 75, and that's the perfect way to measure it.
Do you guys believe this guy? I've never heard.
No, I swear to God.
I don't know. That sounds pretty far-fetched.
I don't know if I trust him, man.
We're gonna do it for video. We're gonna do experimental purposes.
I don't know. This guy, red
You
beard,
should do a
black
video.
hair.
It's like
I don't know if I
fast
trust
forward
him.
and shows Alex doing it, but it's like fast forwarded, so it's like a tutorial.
No, we're gonna do a live feed of 60 or 72
Even better.
hours.
I'll sit there and watch the whole
72
thing. I'll watch it.
No, but that's actually a proven method of how you do it. Because damp salt in a closed container like that, it'll be 75% humidity.
Interesting.
I wouldn't lie to you guys about that. Maybe other stuff.
No, that is interesting. That's actually the first time I ever heard that.
Well, you're not as experienced as I am, so.
Oh yeah, excuse me. I mean, like, you're not wrong. I totally admit that. You've been
Exactly,
smoking
I'm
longer
not
than me.
What else do we got here? So we talked about seasoning. And yeah, so there's different ways of humidifying your humidor. We keep mentioning Boveda packs. They're basically these packs that vary in sizes, and they regulate humidity. So if you have a Boveda pack with 69% on it, that means that it's regulating your humidor at 69%. So what it does is, let's say your humidor is at 65%, it's going to push humidity out until it gets to 65 or 69. If it's over 69%, it'll take humidity into the packet to regulate it. So it'll stay at that constant temperature. And those last 2-3 months, depending on the size of your humidor, the size of the Boveda pack, how many you put in there.
Is it possible to make them too humid, like too wet, or?
So the Boveda packs regulate it. So like if it gets too humid, it'll suck in the humid back
Okay,
in.
all right.
Yeah, that's why, like, some people's Boveda packs, they'll last, like 2-3 months, 4 months, versus some people only last less than a month. And that has to do with, how often do you open up your humidor, the temperature in your house, the seal on your box, there's a lot of factors in it.
Yeah, so if you open your humidor like every day, all the humidity is getting released, so then it has to work harder to regulate the humidity. If you keep it closed, it could last 4 or 5 months. And it depends on the size and how many cigars you have in there, how big your humidor is, stuff like that. You can also use something like what Zach was showing. You put distilled water in that little device and then it releases it. It's hard to regulate. People keep the shot glass in there, but that's obviously not really a good idea because you can over-humidify.
Yeah. Yeah, I like even these, the ones that you fill up yourself, I really don't trust them. I'd rather have a Boveda pack in there.
Exactly. So that Boveda pack's the way to go, or any humidification pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's probably other companies that do the same thing.
Yeah.
We just use Boveda. That's just it's easy for us to get. I think they got them on Amazon. They got them in all of our local shops.
Yeah. Amazon, like same day shipping, dude. Can't beat it.
Can't beat it.
So also, what do we got next, Mark, here? Short term versus long term?
Like storage?
So there's actually, I don't know if you guys know this, there's a different humidity that people prefer if they're storing short term or long term.
I did not know that.
I didn't know
I
either.
prefer single humidity for both instances.
I agree
So
to
for
that
example, if you're aging long term, like years,
statement. You want to be a little more humidified?
no, actually you want to be less humidified.
Really?
So 65% is the preferred number if you're aging your cigars long term. We recommend 69 for all other instances, but 65, a little bit drier, is actually your ideal humidor for aging because you don't want them to get too much moisture over a long period of time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like Cubans. Like you not really supposed to smoke Cubans super humidified.
Yeah, so actually on our list is Cuban versus New World.
So what's a New World cigar? Is that a brand?
You ever
It would actually kind of, it's a line of cigars. So yeah, New World is basically non-Cuban.
Yeah.
So you were just talking about that.
Yeah, so Cubans actually you're supposed to smoke them a little not as humid. So I think like 65% is like the perfect humidity for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they say if you like if you have one in your regular humidor, it's at like 69%, 71%, whatever you're at. Take it out like a day before you smoke it.
Couple days, yeah, a day or two.
Yeah, just let it sit for a
Yeah,
little bit
so
outside.
typically you want to keep your Cubans at 65%, and then you want to keep your other cigars at around the 69. Some people like them more damp, so 72, whatever. But we like our cigars a little bit on the drier side, just because they smoke better that way.
Yeah, it's funny because the way I found out about that was because our Cuban plug, I was smoking near and whatever, and my cigar had a really tight draw. And he's like, "Would you just pull out a humidor and smoke it?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, No. It's supposed to be a little drier. Do this next time." So I did it, and it was perfect. Perfect cigar.
I'll tell you what has a tight draw. This Hooten Young cigar.
The other one we had at the event was
No, that was really good. Yeah,
Really good, yeah.
it might be
It's too humidified. That's what it is.
maybe it is.
Yeah. Should let it. Did you smoke it right out of your humidor?
I actually just got it from the shop, so I'm surprised it's over humidified, if anything.
I will say though, I mean, real quick, back to that whole short-term, long-term thing. I was thinking about it, and I usually, I do keep a 72% whenever I bring cigars, like with me when I travel. But the reasoning is because I'm opening up the stuff a lot more, and I don't trust the 69% to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
No,
mean?
you're exactly
Yeah,
right.
like-
So, like, when we go with the base of cigars, we keep a 72% humidifier pack in there
Yeah,
because, I mean, it helps get to that humidity faster.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's not a great seal on the cigar box. It's pretty good, but not the best seal. And then you're opening it all the time and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So let's see.
The importance of airflow in your humidor and airflow and kind of rotating your cigars, I think go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
You definitely do not want to tightly pack your cigars in your humidor,
Right.
because you do need that airflow. You need the humidity to be able to go all around. The moment you start stacking your cigars and not rotating anything, and it's a nice tight, like almost bundle in your humidor, it's the moment you start having very inconsistent cigars. You could have, let's just say 50 cigars all tightly packed together, and each one of them was going to smoke different, even though it's in the same humidor, the same humidity, same temperature.
Yeah.
And that's just because they're not getting the correct circulation.
Right. There's not enough space in the humidor for the humidity to travel around and stuff like that. So when we're talking about rotating cigars, especially if you have a bigger humidor, cigars on the bottom won't be as humidified as cigars on the top. So you want to make sure you rotate. Some people do it once a month, once every 2 months, to make sure that you're getting the same humidity for all of your cigars. Because if you went a year or two without rotating your cigars on the bottom might be more humidified than the cigars on top, or vice versa. I think humidity rises, so I don't know.
Does it matter like what cigars you have in there? Like you have temperature zones, some bases, and one acid. Will it affect the flavor?
Well, I mean, I would never put an acid in with, my bases.
I would agree. It's just for the
It won't affect the flavor, but the smoking experience. Humidity will affect your smoking experience and how it burns, if it's got a tight draw or not. This cigar actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is a little more humidified than I would like it. So maybe that's part of why the draw is tight. But looking at it too, it's very tightly packed. So it could just be.
the label's fantastic. Oh, sorry, Mark.
You have
Is
no
the label
say.
fantastic?
Mark the label.
I actually love the label.
It is a good label. It is a good
The
label.
last one we had like this
Camo.
dark camo on it. That was badass looking, man. It was a good label.
Hoot and Young makes good cigars. Great whiskey. That whiskey was surprisingly good.
Yeah, Zach wasn't a fan.
I was not a
Really?
fan of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You liked it though,
I
right?
thought it was different.
I liked it.
It was definitely different. But I was also drinking Basil Hayden toast that whole day, so it could have just thrown me off.
That was my first drink, so
That was also my
Yeah.
first drink.
that's definitely what it is then.
My first
Yeah.
drink ever.
Yes,
yeah,
my first
yeah.
drink ever. Yeah. But let's see. Where are we? Keeping track of your humidity. We kind of talked about this. Using a hydrometer.
Yep.
There's different types of hydrometers. The analog one, which is similar to, analog clock, whatever. Digital as well, which shows a digital number. I actually have, so for our basis cigars, I have a Bluetooth digital hydrometer. So I pull it up on my phone and it tells me what the temperature and humidity is in that container. So if I pull it up right now, it's going to be 68 Fahrenheit and then 66% humidity because that's the long-term storage. So
Yeah, so I mean, you kids with this new school stuff, you got, the things
your
on your
Bluetooth.
phone, your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, this technology. So the way I
does it connect to Wi-Fi?
does it?
Does it connect to Wi-Fi? Does it connect to my Wi-Fi? Can you read what's on my Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so the app actually tracks your pupils on how much they're dilated to see if you're happy about the score that it gives.
That's just for the sunglass filter, though.
But yeah, I'm old school, dude. I open the box, put my hand in there, feel the air. You close my eyes, you feel the moisture on your hands. But you can't
Rub your
keep it
fingers
open
together a little bit.
Yeah, you can't keep it open for too long though. That's the issue that these youngsters they mess up. You feel it, then you feel the temperature. What temperature is it?
And then you got to talk to
And
the
then-
cigars.
And then after you feel the temperature, you feel the humidity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the way usually I do it. And I mean, it's tried and true.
You hold the cigar up to your ear.
Yeah, I hold
Make
the
sure you
cigar to
get
my
its
ear.
consent.
I talk to it. I say, "How you doing?" He's like, "I'm pretty humid right now," and I'm like, "Oh, dry out a little bit."
That's what she said.
Christ.
Bless. Amen. Okay, so airflow. We talked about airflow. Rotating your cigars. Cuban versus New World. We did talk about why temperature is important.
Yeah, we did.
I think we covered that.
Yeah.
Cellophane or not?
Yeah. So
I
there's-
prefer cellophane.
There's an argument of whether you should age your cigars in cellophane or not, or basically put them in your humidor with cellophane or not.
Well, based on your beetle discussion, I would agree.
Well, so pros for cellophane is it protects your cigar. Especially if there's a lot of cigars moving around, whatever, it protects the wrapper from getting damaged. Or if you happen to have cigar beetles, it's better protection. The arguments against it is that you're not getting as much airflow into your cigars. So what some people do is they'll cut the end of the cellophane off, so where the foot is fully exposed. They might do it on both sides. They might do it on one. But that's a matter of preference. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a huge difference if you leave cellophane on or not.
Yeah, I prefer to leave cellophane for more than one reason. To protect it with both, just you moving stuff around. You're not getting your hand oils all over the cigar every time you circulate. You rotate the cigars. And I kind of like it as a judge of age too.
Yeah.
If you have a cigar that's been in your humidor for 5 years, if you have two of the same cigars, one's been in the humidor for 5 years and one's been for a year, you'll visibly be able to tell. Your cellophane is going to turn yellow.
Yep. And that's from the oils of the cigar.
And appropriately age, would you say it will smoke better or taste better? Or
It depends. Most cigars get better with age.
Yeah. So the scientifics behind aging is when you age a cigar, it loses body. So what a lot of people love to do is get full body cigars and age them for a few years, so they lose some of that body, and the flavor will actually be a lot better.
Like, would you age a Padron for a long time or no?
Oh
or?
yeah, Padron's aged. I had a Padron that was aged 9 years, and it was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Wait, did you do this yourself?
No, I didn't age it for 9 years. I just happened to stumble upon it, and it was dated, sealed box, dated from 9 years ago. Great cigar. It was beautiful.
Okay.
You had those Partagas, the Family Reserve. They were aged too.
I forgot about those actually. Yeah, I gave Zach one for when he graduated. I had Partagas 1998, and that cellophane was like super yellow. There's a video on our TikTok. That cellophane was yellow, and that cigar was really good.
And I still have that cigar. I mean, however long you've had it, I've had it, for another year.
I mean, that
May will be
cigar
another year.
cigar was from 1998.
Yeah, so
So why don't you bring it on the pod next time?
I don't know.
It's got to be a more important occasion.
Yeah, it's got to be a special occasion.
So the 15th
So we-
pod, the 20th pod.
Well, we actually smoked them all because at the time they were cheap online.
Oh, so yeah, I bought 3. I think they were Robustos. Then I bought a bunch of smaller ones. They were probably like Petit Coronas or something like that. We smoked all those.
And then now they're like triple the price. Right?
Yeah, I got those Petit Coronas for like $3 a piece. Their Robustos were like 10 a piece.
So now they're $9.
Oh, no. Now they're like 20, 30. So it's more than that.
Yeah. Temperature, we talked about that. Seal, obviously the seal is important. That's kind of self-explanatory. You don't want your humidity
leak.
to be released out of the humidor. Cellophane or not. Some people, okay, so some people will have their cigars cut and then put them in the humidor. And the reason why you shouldn't do that is because too much airflow going through the cigar will actually ruin the flavor for you. I don't know if you knew this.
I did not. I just knew not to do it.
Yeah,
It's one of those things not to do it, so you don't question it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Some people do it. Some people prefer it because they think it's, more airflow through the cigar, it helps it age. But it actually can, mess with the flavor. Not necessarily ruin it, but it'll change the flavor of the cigar, the flavor that you're supposed to get. So,
Yeah, so do not cut your cigars before you put them in the humidor.
yeah.
And don't halfway smoke it, put it out, and then put it back in your humidor.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I've never-
Great point.
So actually, that's a big one. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's a big one.
Are you serious right now?
No,
No, yeah. People do that, man. We were at a cigar event. I think it was a Davidoff. No, it was a McAllen event, correct? And this old guy brought these 2 girls there, and they both had cigars, and they didn't finish it. So he cut off the part they smoked, and then he's keeping it. He said he's gonna put it back in his humidor.
I don't remember this.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, no, I remember that because he was looking around too for cigars that people didn't smoke.
Personally, it sounds like you're trying to save money.
Wait, that's different because that guy uses it for fertilizer.
No. He said he was going to smoke it.
It personally sounds like you're trying to save money if you cut half a cigar off, and I'll say I'll smoke it later.
Yeah, that's what people
So,
do, man.
Like,
there's
it's kind of weird.
yeah, there's a difference. Like if you're smoking and you gotta go do something for an hour, but you're coming back. All right, yeah, just put your cigar out. Don't cut it.
Yeah.
Don't cut
While
off.
we're on that topic, though, yeah. So if you're gonna light it up an hour later, it might be fine. But if you are gonna save your cigar, you cut off the burnt end. It's only good for like another 12 hours, like the next day, basically.
if that's
yeah. And I wouldn't put it back in my humidor.
I wouldn't say it's good, but I wouldn't smoke it more than like a few hours later.
Yeah.
And can you explain why? Because you're basically burning the whole core. Or
Yeah,
was
the
burning
flavor,
whole core.
the
And
flavor-
flavor's going.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
flavor profile behind it, it's just terrible. I mean, you only taste ash and burnt stuff. You're not getting any flavors from the cigar at that point. Because you got to think about, like, the smoke settled.
Yeah, and it's cut, so all that, the air is moving back and forth through it, so it's getting that burnt, ashy, bitter.
Did you all
flavors.
advise that guy not to do that, or just like something you?
Well, I don't
observed?
remember that, so.
Oh, I remember that clearly. We were talking about it for like a week.
Was I there?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
I
there,
don't
yeah.
remember this. Well, rip to that guy. He did not enjoy that cigar.
I mean, he would learn, right? I mean, it's a one-time mistake, right? He would go smoke it, and he'd be like, "Wow."
Well, some people don't care. I mean,
You're saying he wouldn't care, and he would like the ash taste afterwards.
you never know. There's crazier things in the world.
Maybe he smokes his cigars and goes, afterwards.
But you never know. So maybe somebody would just try. They're like, oh, I'll finish this, in 2 days from now. Like people that don't really smoke a lot of cigars might think like, oh, this would be fine if I just, put it back in my humidor.
Yeah, you never know.
So,
But let's see. We finished. Okay, cool. So, any final comments? Any final concerns? Any final tips? Do you enjoy the weather out today? No. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Cigar Guys. We appreciate you for tuning in, learning with us about humidification, proper storage of cigars. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Linktree if you want to see some other short content, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And we appreciate you guys for all your support that you've given us. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
See ya.
See you later.